C'est à moi que tu parles?
What is it that makes this shot memorable? It's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about this film, and it's often referred to as the best scene from the film. But why? Haine is not only one of the best films of the past 30 years, but one of the best films of all time. Its timeless narrative, absorbing cinematography and masterful direction gives the impression that it could have been released yesterday. I will also say that there will be major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the entirety of the film, go ahead and watch that and then come back to this. I'm purely going to be looking at this film from a cinematography standpoint, so I'm not going to be looking at the meaning of the story or anything political or anything like that, but I will leave a couple of articles in the description below surrounding those matters. In today's video, I'll be looking at how Haine shot Haine, what makes the cinematography unique and why they used certain techniques. I won't be able to look at what equipment was used like normal, since I couldn't find any leads apart from the fact that they used Arri's cameras and lenses. To start, Haine's use of unique compositions really stands out. The number of memorable shots is just staggering, whether it's a tense moment or just a comedic one. The use of depth in this film is special to say the least. You see it used in pretty much every scene, but it isn't the way you or I would use it. My favourite use of it would have to be right outside the nightclub, where we have a close-up of Vince and use a split diopter to get both him and the background in focus. Along with the use of composition, Haine's use of movement really helps elevate the story. The slow dollies in and dolly zooms create a uniqueness in the cinematography. Sure, they are used in a number of other films, but with a subject matter like this, movement can change a scene from being just there to being compelling. I'll also say that we don't usually see Paris in this sort of light in film, especially in English-speaking countries, so going through the suburbs and more deprived areas of Paris, instead of the stunning townhouses that we see in a film like French Exit, makes it quite refreshing to watch. But let's talk about the scene at the end. It was the last thing I expected when I first watched the film, and it just left me in shock. Again, they use composition to their advantage throughout the scene by utilising depth between Hubert and Said. Along with that, the use of silence and amplified diegetic sound creates a sense that we are there with them. And then finally, a slow dolly in as the last shot of the film, what it's all been leading up to and where everything is left to what we hear. You can't really put this feeling into words.
L'important, c'est pas la chute. C'est l'atterrissage.
Let's start with the most obvious technique, black and white. It's said that they use this as it's how the rest of the world see Vince, Hubert and Said. It's also how Vince sees the world. You compare black and white with pessimism quite easily, as it's seen as a cheaper way to shoot and almost as though colour doesn't matter. Here's a clip of the iconic "You Talking to Me" scene. I found it in colour and I'll link the original video down below, but it just feels off, right? The film doesn't really work when it's seen in colour. It's almost like it's a different film altogether, but this is also something that works with all black and white movies ever made. Dead Man, Ed Wood, The Lighthouse. You would not have the same effect you want on the audience if you had shot those in colour.
You're a dog! A filthy dog!
How did they actually shoot the mirror scene though? Well, when I first saw it, I had to think about it for a minute, but since I've already seen it used in a couple of shows and films before, it's actually pretty simple if you have the budget for it. What they did was get a body double for Vince and then mirror the set. There is no mirror in the scene. Vince is simply looking at another actor and then at a camera. It's simple enough to pull off from a cinematography standpoint, but I don't even want to begin to think about the thought that went into this from the production design team. All in all, Haine used a multitude of different techniques in his cinematography that absorb us as an audience into the film, and ultimately the camera ends up being a character. Overall, not only was Haine a masterpiece due to its story, direction and acting, but the cinematography helped tell so much of the story that you otherwise wouldn't have been able to put into words. The use of unique movements and compositions made it memorable and a staple of cult cinema. Apologies for not uploading last week. I've been incredibly busy with pre-production on a couple of projects, but now have a few videos lined up that are unlike anything that I've made before. If you have a film or TV show that you would like to see me break down, then leave a comment down below. If you found this video helpful, a thumbs up is appreciated, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.